I'd like to welcome everybody to the Nextdoor briefing. First off, I'd like to welcome Sheriff Diggs from the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office, Chief Salt from the Hampton Police Division, our new Chief, Chief Drew, and our interim Chief, Chief Grinstead, and other guests here today. First off, I'd like to introduce the Chief City Strategist, Mr. Joseph Porcelli with Nextdoor.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here this morning. This is actually the first press conference we've done with multiple police departments coming together to encourage neighbors to come together to look out for each other and to work with the police departments to make their neighborhoods stronger and safer. So it's my honor to represent Nextdoor here. Again, my name is Joseph Porcelli, and I'm a senior city strategist for Nextdoor, and I also have the privilege of serving as Nextdoor's professional neighbor. I got that title for organizing in neighborhoods for the last 12 years, and actually used to work for Boston PD in the Neighborhood Watch Unit. So I have a job I love to do, and I get to work with wonderful folks such as the folks here today to help improve neighborhoods and make them stronger around the country. Now, on behalf of the entire Nextdoor team, I want to thank Newport News Assistant Chief Eric Randall, Hampton Police Chief Terry Salt, and York-Poquoson Sheriff Diggs for championing Nextdoor across Hampton's roads and making today's announcement possible. Now, Nextdoor is honored to be working with these departments who have each demonstrated impressive ways of using our platform to communicate with neighbors, to build community, and to improve safety. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Nextdoor, we are the private social network for neighborhoods, and we allow neighbors who may not meet or otherwise cross paths to come together to communicate and to talk about the things that are most important to them in their neighborhoods. Nextdoor is relied on by more than 175,000 neighborhoods across the United States. It's available essentially in 86% of neighborhoods. And here in the Hampton Roads area, there's over 40,000 Nextdoor members that are using the platform to connect, to communicate with each other, to receive updates from the departments who are represented here, and by over 70 other departments, well, not here in Hampton Roads, but there are 70 other departments here in Virginia. Now, before each neighbor is able to join their Nextdoor neighborhood, they have to verify that they live there. They do that by having a postcard sent to their house, and there's a little code at the bottom, and when that comes into their mailbox, they punch that into our website. We know they live there. They can also register. The two other popular ways are having our system call their home phone or their mobile phone number, and we know if the billing address matches, we allow them in. With that added sense of security, neighbors feel comfortable talking about things that are happening in their neighborhoods and with each other. No other person who does not live in that immediate neighborhood is able to access that neighborhood, so it is private just to those neighbors. Through Nextdoor for Public Agencies, which is our free government interface used by the agencies here, they're able to communicate with all neighbors all Nextdoor members in their jurisdiction. They're also able to target messages into specific service areas, such as a police district or down to the neighborhood level where Christy, who will be speaking later, lives. They're able to inform those neighbors about things that are going on. They're able to educate those neighbors about resources that are available to them. And they're able to activate those neighbors to take actions or change behaviors to deter crime, for example, or help provide information about something that's going on in their neighborhood to solve that crime. Now, this capability is unique to Nextdoor. No other platform allows agencies to target messages to a specific geography and reach as many people as possible. Now, Nextdoor, as I said earlier, is available in 175,000 neighborhoods around the country, and neighbors use it for all kinds of things. I made a couple notes here. In my neighborhood, I live in Annapolis, Maryland. Someone was talking about how to get rid of mosquitoes in their backyard because there's like a pool of water, and how are people being successful with that? There was a neighbor who posted the other day that there was a gentleman who was elderly and he couldn't mow his lawn anymore, and she asked us, they're volunteers, and 30 of us immediately responded yes. And last Saturday, 2 of us cut his lawn, right? So because we're connected, we're able to help each other out that way. We also deal with things like flooding in Annapolis City Dock. You know, the water is getting high, it's coming out, and we can be there for each other when we need it. Someone posted during one of the last rainstorms that their basement was flooded. Someone lent them a pump, and I think there was a story about a year ago where they actually got buckets and bailed their neighbor out, and I know that flooding is a concern here. So I wanted to provide that brief overview of Nextdoor. If anybody has questions afterwards, I'm more than happy to take those questions and answer them. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Hampton Police Chief Salt, correct? Yes. And who will talk about how Hampton Police is using Nextdoor. Sir?
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Well, Joe's given a very good summary of how Nextdoor works. We've been a member since about November 2014. And as a result, over the past 3.5 years, we've had about a 1,500% increase in those who actually participate on Nextdoor. It's a great tool. As he mentioned, it's a social networking. It's a way to bring neighborhoods closer together. And at the end of the day, when we can put out information, suspect information, or lookouts on particular crime trends and that type of thing, it's really all about increasing eyes and ears on the street. It's partnerships is what we talk about. And when we have partnerships and those extra eyes and ears, that means we have additional operational capacity to solve crimes. At the end of the day, it's not the technology, other than maybe Nextdoor, but it's not the technology that gets things done, that gets cases cleared. It's people telling us who did it and people calling us when they see suspicious activity. This is a good way for neighbors to be on the same page, to see something unusual, something suspicious. But as a member of Nextdoor myself, we keep up with who's the best handyman in the neighborhood, and who can do a good yard job for doing gardening and that type of thing. But it really does bring folks together. We do send out targeted messages into specific neighborhoods and areas when we have a natural event like a snowstorm, ice storm, or even a hurricane coming into the area. We do send out notices through social media and Nextdoor. We've gotten a ton of positive feedback. We really have enhanced our social media platforms for that purpose, and Nextdoor serves as one of the most positive platforms that we have. And I'll turn it over to Sheriff Diggs.
Well, we're certainly very well pleased to be working with Nextdoor. It's a tremendous program. In York County being the smallest locality, I think percentage-wise we've got more participants. We have 97 neighborhoods and almost 9,000 users, and it's worked out very well for us, and we're glad you're there because we use various social media outlets, but there's a lot of clutter in some of those others and a lot of distractions. So we can, like Chief Salt said, we can target information. In fact, we were having a problem with people stealing from unlocked vehicles, and we had sent that out to our Nextdoor partners, and it raised the neighborhood awareness. Some neighbors were paying attention, called us, and we were able to actually apprehend people breaking into cars. So that's a big success story for us. I think we did a little poll on Nextdoor. How did you feel about it? And 78% of the people felt like their neighborhoods were safer because of Nextdoor and the information that was being put out. And it's just not crime. It's we recently changed uniforms. It's other things that are going on in the community. And it's just another way for us to get information out because everybody doesn't use the same social media outlets, and it just multiplies our ability to get the word out. So we thank you very much, and we think it's a successful program, and we're glad to be part of this today. Thank you. And now, Chief Randall.
Good morning and welcome to Newport News Police Department, and it is an honor to be here to speak with you today about the Nextdoor program. Our department has been a participant in the program since June of 2015. That's just over 3 years. And in that time frame, Newport News has seen a 900% increase in membership in the Nextdoor program. Our department uses the platform to share updates about recent crime trends, car thefts, and store shooter burglaries, to advertise free and upcoming training opportunities, classes for citizens, and to educate our public about severe weather events and other safety tips. In a recent poll of residents attached to the Nextdoor program, 60% of our respondents primarily use the system to receive updates from the police department about crime and safety tips. We also found that 62% of the 434 respondents in this survey feel more informed since we began using Nextdoor to communicate with those in our community. As we know, connected and informed neighbors are the essence to make our communities thrive and become safer and growing communities. It is important that we embrace the innovative ways to help keep our communities connected and safe. Nextdoor is a social network for neighborhoods and neighbors to get together. Newport News Police, Hampton Police Division, and York Poquoson Sheriff's Office have been using the Nextdoor program for over the past several years to improve citywide and community-wide and countywide communications. Already, more than 380 neighborhoods in our three jurisdictions have been using Nextdoor to stay communicated in a number of ways. Since 2014, statistics show that there's been nearly a 700% increase in membership. Total membership in the region, nearly 40,000 members. Nextdoor, this social media platform, gives us a direct line of communications to our residents to pass on important and time-sensitive information in critical incidents and critical natures of that known. We believe neighbors who know each other look out for each other, and that's real critical in today's time. Harnessing the immense power of this technology brought to us by Nextdoor is vital to strengthening each and every one of our neighborhoods, our communities, to make us grow and thrive, to become safer. Together, working as a team, we can make a difference in each and one of our communities and our neighborhoods. In addition to sharing updates and other information about Nextdoor, we have recently activated the Send to Police feature on our module. This allows citizens who are engaged in a conversation to send private messages about crime and information in their community directly to the Newport News Police Department and other police departments in the area to have private messages with local responders to help address, to have a personal connection to address the needs of their particular community. That's the immense power of utilizing technology in today's to combat crime in our communities, which is very important because we all live very proactive and busy lives, and we want to stay connected, which is very important. It is at this time I had the distinct honor to introduce a Newport News resident, a Nextdoor user, and a member of our Menchville community here in Newport News, Ms. Christy Deely, who's going to give you some personal examples of how important it is to utilize this system. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Randall. My husband and I purchased our first home in the Menchville area of Newport News in the summer of 2011. We were drawn to the neighborhoodness of it. Kids playing outside, families riding bikes and walking their dogs together, folks sitting out on their front porches chatting, how everybody waves at everybody walking or driving, whether they know them or not. As friendly as it is, though, we only ever officially met our neighbors next to us and across from us. When I received an invitation to join Nextdoor when it launched for Newport News in 2014, I was immediately drawn to the ability to connect with my neighbors beyond the three next to us and whoever I happened to pass on a walk. I never imagined just how important this network would become to me or how involved I, as a neighborhood lead, would be in its growth over the next 4 years. I have lost count of the number of stray dogs and cats I've encountered while driving home through my neighborhood over the last few years. Quick posts on Nextdoor have helped me get them all home within hours. It's not uncommon to see Menchville neighbors coordinating with each other to report sightings of evasive cats and dogs until someone's able to catch them and get them home, sometimes over the course of days. Just last week, after a neighbor's desperate post on Nextdoor, neighbors worked together from Colony Road all the way to Boxley, from Warwick Boulevard to Nicewood Park, searching for a dog that had been hit by a truck and run off, and they found him and got him home. Nextdoor also helps us to be neighborly to each other in other ways, from asking for referrals to trusted service providers, to finding tools or other household items to borrow or purchase inexpensively, to promoting fundraising drives and charity events at schools and churches in the neighborhood, to kind little things such as offering up extra tomatoes from our gardens and checking in on each other during power outages and storms. I once used Nextdoor to message a neighbor late at night to tell them they'd left the lights on in their car so they didn't come out in the morning to go to work and find a dead battery. Residents of Menchville and the surrounding neighborhoods have also used Nextdoor to discuss issues uniquely important to us as a larger neighborhood, such as the proposed development of the old Hertzler Farm and a city farm at Riverview Farm Park, providing us a tool through which to organize gatherings at city council meetings and express our collective desire to not see these properties developed. Recent months have seen a significant number of our neighbors informing us of package and mail theft, stolen bikes, car break-ins, hooded persons checking for unlocked cars, and home break-ins, and even a few home invasions. These sorts of incidents don't usually make the news, and we might be completely unaware of this rise in crime in our neighborhood if it weren't for Nextdoor. But through Nextdoor, we are able to work together to protect ourselves and our neighbors by raising awareness, sharing descriptions of suspicious persons and vehicles, giving advice on home security, and encouraging residents to report incidents to the police and use our voices to communicate our concerns to law enforcement and our city leadership. There are lots of different groups and pages on other social media networks that I could join to potentially reach out to other people in my area. But I could join a dozen groups and maybe find a handful or two of people who live in Menchville. And it's more likely than not that anything they or I post will be buried under cat videos and fake news. With Nextdoor, I am directly connected to all of the Menchville residents who have joined the network, as well as those in the adjoining neighborhoods. And I don't have to hope for some mystical algorithm to let me see everything my neighbors post that's important to me and my family. On Nextdoor, I don't have 3 neighbors. I have 688, and I'd like to have more. Thank you.
What's that?
Just wrap it up.
Sure. But somebody has to remind me that we have to get a picture with the banner, because I always forget, so I'm telling everybody. For Christy, thank you so much. Chief Sheriff, thank you for making time to do this. I think one of the things you heard today is there's lots of uses for it. And one of the things that keeps us up at night and has all of us at Nextdoor work so hard is, sometimes things like hurricanes happen. And what we saw in Houston with Harvey, it was unbelievable. In the greater Houston area, for example, 136 agencies posted 1,200 messages during that hurricane. And they were able to provide extremely important hyper-local messages about what was going on. There was an officer for Houston PD, Officer Von Quintus, who was posting to neighbors, evacuate now, get out of your attic. If you remember on the news, people were getting stuck in their attic. Get on your roof, wave your t-shirt because the helicopter can't see you. And it's extremely satisfying for those of us who work at Nextdoor to be able to provide a tool that can help save people's lives should there be a flood, and I know that there's some flooding concerns here in the area. So not only can you meet, more of your neighbors and get information from the police department, should a major hurricane come through, it's going to be a tool that will be very helpful, and it gives us great satisfaction to know that so many people have already adopted it, and we have such wonderful partners here in the Hampton News area that have done innovative, great things already that you guys have access to it. So thank you very much for having us, and if anybody wants to do more questions, I'm around, and we're not going to forget to do the banner. So can we do that before I forget? Anything else? I think we're good. All right. So, we get Chief, Sheriff, come up for a picture. Christy, come on up. I'd also like to get some of our guys, I need to go to practice. So if we can get a couple pictures. Can we get Leon, any of you guys want to come up? Jamie? So we can get some pictures of everybody. Here, Chrissy, get in the middle here.
Say blend in with the banner.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so get everybody here. 2, 3, cheese.
Have you ever needed to borrow a ladder? Get the word out about a lost dog? Or find out when local road repairs wrap up? There are so many ways our neighbors can help us. But these days, most people don't know their neighbors or how best to contact them. Nextdoor changes that with a private social network just for people in your neighborhood. It's a place where you and your neighbors can go to ask questions and exchange recommendations and advice. And it's all free. Whether you're looking for a plumber, trying to find a home for a bicycle in your garage, or getting the word out about your block party, Nextdoor makes it easy to talk to neighbors about what matters to you. All members need to verify they live in the neighborhood, so your communications will stay just between you and your neighbors. It's easy to get started. Download the Nextdoor app or visit nextdoor.com to become a part of Nextdoor for your neighborhood. When neighbors start talking, good things happen.